ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धश्रवा स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदा स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमि स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ओम शांति शांति शांति. We are studying Mundaka Upanishad with Shankar's commentary, and in the first section of the third Mundak, we have read the third mantra, and now we are at the fourth mantra also. And in fourth mantra, let us read once again. Prano hi esha ya sarva bhuter vivati vijanan vidwan bhavate nativadi atmakrida atmarati kriyavan esha brahmavidam varishtha. So I have seen this in detail. The question is about the word kriyavan. And the spiritual meaning of this word is that in his practical life, he is seen to be a Brahmagya. He is that he has known Brahman, can be seen in his practical dealings or life. That is Kriyavan. Now, Kriya normally means some karma, and karma is incompatible with Jnana. So Shankar says that certain karmas are not incompatible with Jnana. And he says that Tasmad ayam eva iha kriyavan yo jnana dhyanadi kriyavan asambhinna arya maryada sannyasi. Now, what jnana is kriya? Should we take it to mean that he is busy in studying and teaching? Jnana, Shankar is taken as one of the kriyas. And dhyana. So, he is always engaged in meditating upon the reality. This is taken to be another kriya. So, jnana, dhyana, adi. Now, adi may be some auxiliaries which appear to be kriyas but which are not kriyas. How and why we have to understand. And then he says, asambhinna arya maryada. Arya meaning is noble people. Arya does not mean a particular race that there are Aryas here. Arya means idealistic, noble people. That is the meaning of the word Arya. Now they have their own limitations. Arya Maryada. That means the noble people behave in a particular way. They do not behave like ordinary men. So that is Arya Maryada. Asam Bhinna. Bhinna means broken. Bhinna does not mean different. Bhinna, Bheda, Bhinna. Broken. Sambhinna, fully broken, nicely broken. Asambhinna, that means not at all broken. So they are following the traditions, traditional behavior of the Aryas. Now what does it mean in practical life? What jnana can be kriya? Can you tell? Shankar says jnana, dhyana, adi, kriya, asambhinna, arya maryada. So you have to assume that jnana means studying and teaching Vedanta. And dhyana means concentrated or meditated upon the reality always. And adi. Adi means certain auxiliaries about it. And then it should not be outside the maryada set up by the Aryas. So you have to understand what does it mean. If any one of you has the same English, na? Has Gambiranji given some notes? Give me. You'll have to maybe we have not gone so far. So also he becomes Kriyavan. One who is possessed of, that is devoted to spiritual practices like knowledge. Again, he has just translated it. Meditation. And he has added detachment, etc. Detachment and so on. So, Vairagya. And so on. Anyway. So the other day, did we understand this? This theory, we have read this already. So Jnana, Dhyana, Adi, Kriya. Now, first of all, whether Jnana, Dhyana, Adi or Kriya, now we can take help from Sadananda, it is Vedanta Sar. There he says, Jnana Aviruddha Kriya. That will throw light. Jnana Aviruddha Kriya. That means karma which is not opposed to Jnana. What he means is that attachment to lust and gold is against Jnana. Understood? Subject, object, nature of activities are against Jnana. So what is favorable to Jnana? And we have to see this again in the light of the people we know. Now, was Shankara not busy in Kriya? All the time he is roaming throughout India and preaching Vedanta. Is that not a Kriya? We will find in Sri Ramakrishna, the great master, Sardan Swamiji says, incarnations are these Jivan Muktas. They have no selfish Kriya. Nothing in their life is for this limited body and mind. That is selfishness. So this throws some light on that. Then a funny thing comes to the mind. We know the Shankaracharyas, Pithadipatis. You have visited any one of them? No. I visited Kanchi, Sringeri, I don't remember. So there people are allowed to make pranams to him only when he is doing some ritual. Some Sandhya Vandan like Kriyas are going on. He sits at that and then the window is open for his pranam. So I used to feel strange for that. So this is a little naughty problem. Now, Shankar is telling today's commentary, and that some people take it to be samuchay, kriyavan. So, and he has become Brahmavidam Varishtha. So the jnana and karma has to coexist, that is samuchay. And there he will show that this is not possible. So understand that. But I told you in the beginning, my understanding of this. That is in practical, he is not a theoretical Vedanti. In his practical life, it will be seen that he is a Vedanti. Now, how he will be seen? Do we find a description of the man of realization? Kenopanishad. Pratibodha viditam matam. Sri Ramakrishna's language, bodhe bodhe brahma bodh. Take an example, people give an example. Now, Turian Swamiji has been given milk or something. And he says, put some sugar in it. So, has Brahmanya some desire for sugar? They explain that for Turian Swamiji, milk, sugar, drinking, all this is forms of Brahman. Now, for that we have to enter his mind then. Another very brilliant example of what is inside them is when it comes out. Brahman Swamiji is about to leave his body. And he's talking continuously of this or that, jnana only. And seeing that he will give up body at any moment, his servant brings sanctified water, Charanamrit, and says, Maharaj, please open your mouth, I will put Charanamrit in it. And Maharaj opens the mouth and says, yes, put Brahman in Brahman. Brahma, Brahma, Veleda, Deveda. So, now at the point of leaving the body, his knowledge which is inside has come out. This shows what is their knowledge throughout. And this defines what I am telling Kriyavan. Understood? Now, it is not Samuchay that Shankara has already explained that what we are seeing in Brahmajnas is no karma at all which can be combined with knowledge. Because change of consciousness. So, we come back to what is Kriyavan. I would strongly feel in his practical life you will see that is Brahman. Not that he talks of Brahmajna or not that theoretically. We find hundreds of theoretical Brahmajnas in this world. who talk of Aham Brahmasmi or any such thing. And when you go to see their life, you don't see that. And they say, our Maharaj had realized such and such thing in such and such year. And now what we see is this prarabdha. There Sadananda says Jnana Aviruddha Phala. Sukha Dukkha Lakshanani Jnana Aviruddha Phalani. So all this goes to the spirit behind the action. Now we can judge it by reactions. Does he react if things are not given to him? Now again it has coupled with Atma Krida, Atmarati Kriyavan. So he's playing with himself. He is happy with himself. Now Kriyavan you add. And Shankar says there can be a samas also, Atmarati Kriyavan. Atmarati is his Kriya. So we have not reached any definite conclusion regarding the outside life of a Brahmajna. But we can feel it. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmaniva atmanas tushta sthita prajna sadochyate. And advaishta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evacha. So we can take them all as kriyas. Maitra, karuna evacha, daksha. So the practical life of a Brahmajna is described as far as we know in Gita, 2nd chapter, Siddha Prajna Lakshanas, 12th chapter, Adarsha Bhakta Lakshanas, and 14th chapter, Gunatita Lakshanas. Now come to Shruti. Kenopanishad says very clearly, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. That knowledge is real knowledge which vibrates in every vibration of consciousness. Okay. Now we go to Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. There it is said, if knowledge enters a man, the first effect is he loses all his desires. And he has no possessions. And he starts begging his food like sannyasis. Why? Is begging a kriya. Because he is not allowed to have any sangraha and yet he has to live. So the only course left to him to maintain his body is by begging food. You know, there are higher states than begging. No. In Vedanta, something is mentioned as Akasha Vritti or Ajagara Vritti. Have you heard that? I practiced that, so I am telling. 78, 79, when I was in the Rishikesh Kutia. Last 3 months, I did not go out of Kutia. No begging, not going out at all. What the Ajagara does is, no. He does not travel for his food. He does not go out for search of food. But whatever comes in his jurisdiction, he just swallows. So this is Ajagara Vritti. It is also called Akasha Vritti. If nothing comes, nothing comes. You have to see practically. Twice at least. For 3 days I have not eaten anything. 3 days, nothing. In 3 months, at least this has happened twice. Ganga water is there, of course. You drink any amount whole day. Because that is available with Ganga itself. And the other side of Ajagara Vritti is whatever comes you eat. Now so many thoughts are coming on this point by practical life. I had no social contacts. But even then, the neighbors, they are seeing, they are observing. So they think the Swami is not going out at all. Perhaps he may be cooking himself. And to provide him a little change of taste, that is their thought I am telling. One bottle, say about how much? 500 grams of pickle somebody gave me. And I ate it at one stroke. So there was burning sensation. Drink Ganges water as much as you want. Nothing else that day. Somebody presented me another day. Same, one bottle of sugar. Nothing other that day. Eat that whole sugar. Some devotees were coming from Kankan. So the sadhus there tell, our sadhus are there in Kutia. And season like today, that is mango season. So on a particular day, I remember, I have eaten 17 Langda mangoes. Huh? Nothing else. No, because they came, I ate. Now people would ask, what about balance of food? I used to say in 1 week it gets balanced. One day, let me tell that. One German boy was staying in our Narendrapur ashram. Student or I do not know. And he, with special permission, came to the kutia. Now he had his guru, one Mastaram Baba. His history is still funny, Mastaram Baba. Suddenly it came to his mind that he will not take food unless people feed him. And for some days he suffered. But then so much food started coming, 25 people used to take food every day in his ashram. Now he came to visit him. Guru Purnima. So previous evening of Guru Purnima, he came. And while talking to me, he understood I am not going out anywhere. So early morning, he went here and there. Some shops were open. So he brought something. I don't remember, now luchi, some puris or something. And gave it to me and went to Mastaram Baba. Now there was one devotee family. one known devotee family in Rishikesh. Two old brothers and one widowed sister. All three Mahapurush Maharaj's disciples. So that sister says suddenly to one of the brothers, today is Guru Purnima. I am making some rotis or parotas. You please give it to this Swami. So one of the brothers brought them. I was sitting with door closed, doing japam, and he knocked. So because little disturbance in japam, little, uh, that means not very pleasing look, I opened the door. Annoyed. He became afraid. And he said, sister, I said like this, so I brought this, and he kept. As he went out, I ate that whole thing, that parota with potato sabji or something. Then that boy gone to Mastaram Baba, what is thinking of me? So while coming back in the evening, he purchased again many things from the shop and brought for me. I ate that also. So 3 days food in one day and no food in 3 days. Anyway, what I'm telling is that Bhiksha is the first step. And in Bhiksha, Yadrichala Basantushta. So there are Ajagaruti or now when Thakur was in Nirvikal Samadhi, was he caring for food? Did he go out for Bhiksha? Some sadhu came and bet him and fed him. And not only Thakur, Brahman Swamiji in Omkareshwar, for 8 days he was in Samadhi. And Subodhananda Swamiji was with him. And Subodhananda Swamiji used to go out for Madhukari or Bhiksha. And the rotis he used to keep soaked in water. And when he saw Brahman Swamiji slightly conscious, he used to feed. Anyway, I told you about my Guruji one day, na? Again, so many things started coming in my mind. We were reading because he had no eyes. So, he had glaucoma in one eye, cataract in one eye, high diabetes. In that condition, he had restarted classes. So on the previous day, every day, for tomorrow's class, I have to read out to him today. Fixed time is 1 hour. But it used to go 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And his food time was much later than our time. So many things I started telling. Much later than our time, but not compulsorily that everybody has taken food, but one who gives him food, thali, he must have taken food before. This was never changed. Now another Swami was in charge. We used to take voluntarily for some days. I will give. So one Swami, he had taken food. Now he came and we were reading was not finishing. So he was reminding now and then, Maharaj, we are reading. Then again when he pestered him, you must say, Maharaj said that if you are feeling tired, you go and sleep. No, that was practically his condition at that time. But he had a sense of responsibility. So he said, if I go and sleep, who will give? What Maharaj said, Spontaneously, simply. Bengali, dile khabo, na dile khabo na. And in such a simple, guileless way, that is one of his signs that he was a Brahmin. Dile khabo na, dile khabo na. Anyway, now coming back to Brihadaranyaka, Shankar says when Jnana enters, he becomes a sannyasi and starts begging food. When a little more Jnana enters, means Jnana goes deeper. Then he becomes Pandit. Now, Pandit is not scholar. Huh? You know Pandit? Panda Atma Vishaya Buddhi. Sa yasya asti sa Pandita. Panda means Atma Vishayak knowledge, Atma Vishayak consciousness. So we may say Brahmasmi. Huh? Panda means Atma Vishaya Buddhi. Shankar's commentary in the Gita. Atma Vishaya Buddhi. Sa yasya asti sa Pandita. One who possesses that is Pandita. And so, Aham Brahmasmi feeling. So when the knowledge grows more than this being, then Aham Brahmasmi comes to him. And that, oh, we are going into Brihadaranyaka fully. Anything coming first in the life of a spiritual sadhak agitates him for some time. That means I know I am Brahmasmi, like that. And when it becomes habituated, the Upanishad says, when it digests that, or when he becomes Vairagyavan about that, Nirvidya. So, Pandita is digested. That means knowledge has gone deeper. Then he gets Balya. And it has two meanings. Shankara has given one meaning, and in Brahma Sutra, Vyasa has used another meaning, and Shankara has commented that also. Balya means Balabhav, strength of character. He will not be tempted by things. And the other meaning is child, Balya Bhav. That means no ego. And that also agitates him for some time. Then he has digested that also. Knowledge has gone deeper. Then he becomes Mauni. We can take Mauni as Dhyani. He does not talk. Nativadi already has told, but we will see that all the time he is contemplating. But that contains Amauna also, according to Brihadaranyaka. Mauna has Amauna also. That means some subject of activity is going on. And when he digests both Mauna and Amauna, he becomes a Brahmin. Now Upanishad has started telling when a Brahmin does like that, then he becomes a Brahmin. So Shankar says he was Brahmin in name, now he is real Brahmin. That means he is a... You see, we are meditating, but some action is going on, meditation also. and some restlessness of the mind will be there. No? So Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says Maun and Amaun, when both are digested, then he becomes a Brahmana. Then after what happens? Our habit. After this, what up? Brihadaranyaka says, Sa yena syat tena syat. We cannot put him under any rules. What he does is standard. That is the glory of a Brahmajna Purush. Sa yena syat tena syat. But there again, if no rules are being followed, then the Iti says, basing upon some other book, Shvanam Tattvadrisham Chaiva Ko Bheda Ashuchi Bhakshani. A dog also eats something, whatever, and like that does he do. So this comes Asambhinna Arya Maryada. Okay. I think enough we have discussed. That in his life he can see that he is a Brahmajna. In his practical life he can see that he is a man of knowledge. That is Kriyavan. Now we come to this commentary. Kichittu Agnihotradi Karma Brahma Vidyayo Samuchayartham Icchanti. There Gamiranji said something, we take second interpretation, then it means. The question is, Kriyavan, Atmariti Kriyavan. Gamiran says the Atmariti Kriyavan interpretation seems to mean that he is Samuchaya. But it can be about the whole Brahmajna. Tacha esha brahmavidam varishtha iti anena mukhyartha vachanena viruddhate. So after Atmati Kriyavan, the last word is Sa esha brahmavidam varishtha. So he is the greatest among Brahmajnas. That means he is not a theoretical Brahmajna. Or like we sages we described, all are people with knowledge, but best among them. So with this best among them, it will contradict, Shankar says, if Samuchaya you take. That means when the Brahmajnana is growing, some karma may be left in him. But when he is full Brahmajnana, no karma is left with him. Nahi Bhaya Kriyavan Atma Krida Atmaratisha Bhavitum Shakta. Combine with those words. He is playing with himself, he is satisfied with himself. So this cannot combine with externalized work. Kasyet Bhaya Kriya Vinivritto hi Atma Krida Bhavati. Somebody who has withdrawn totally from playing outside only can be Atma Krida. Bhaya Kriya, Atma Krida, your Virodha. Now here also again and again we should understand that he may be seen playing outside, but for him all is Atman. We bring examples again. Sri Ramakrishna, Brahman Swamiji, about Sri Ramakrishna, mother says that he was happy with children, he was happy with young men, he was happy with old men, he was happy without anybody also, that we should see. And Brahman Swami used to keep himself engaged with the grandsons of Balram Babu. Hundreds of examples. Some devotee, Vishwambar, Master Machi is mentioning, his two daughters have come, maybe aged 7, 8, and Thakur is playing with them and singing songs with them. What type of songs? Your husband has come, be dressed properly, like that he is singing them. And about Holy Mother, Brahman Swami used to become horse and Balram Babu's children will sit on him. And Nivedita is described about Holy Mother. Some toys were bought for the children. There was a toy which you press it, then it will make sound, ching, and fly. Holy Mother jumped and made the same sound. Anyway, so it is beyond the scope of ordinary mortals, but one should enter the spirit and understand. And as I said, if it is stopped, do they suffer? Thakur went to Kamarpukur and the ladies are discussing that Panch Phodan is not there. So let us do without it. Thakur said, no, no, for that I have come. Anyway, so you have to understand this properly. Bhaya Kriyatma Kriyor, Nai Tama Prakashayor, Yugapad Ekatra Sthiti Sambhavati. They are like darkness and light. For a reason, we accept what Shankara has said. Tasmat, Asat Prarapitameva Etad Anena Jnana Karma Samuchaya Pratipadanam. So this is your useless or untrue talk. Asat Prarapitameva. Anya Vacho Vimunchata, Sannyasa Yoga Ityadi Shruti Bhascha. So give up all other talks you have seen. And through sannyasa one gets the Brahmajnan. That also we have seen. So don't mix up with Kriya. Tasmad, I am eva here Kriyavan. He has repeated that. Jnana dhyana di Kriyavan asambhinna arya maryada sannyasi. There is a padved here. Abhinartha maryada. Same meaning. Nothing. No. Padved is mentioned in my book from some text. While taking class, my teacher has told there is a padved. Abhinartha maryada. Kriyavan Brahmanishta sa Brahmavidam Sarvesham Varishta Pradhana. Okay. We spent a lot of time in this mantra. No, we could see the whole life picture. And that Kena and Brihadaranyaka should remember. Now, what was this section for? What is this chapter for? We forgot. He said the sadhana has been described already. Auxiliary sadhana like satya, etc., that is the topic of this section. But Brahmajnan Swarup is told again and again because it is difficult to understand. So now that topic comes. Satyena labhya tapasa hi esha atma samyak jnanena brahmacharyena nityam अंतःशरीरे ज्योतिर्मयो हि शुभ्रो यम पश्यन्ति यतया क्षीण दोषा एष आत्मा सत्येन लभ्या. So Vachik Satya. So if Vachik Satya is not practiced, you cannot get Atman. Tapasa. Love of austerity. He Esha Atma Samyak Jnanena. So main thing Samyak Jnanena is there. But these are two auxiliary sadhanas with Samyak Jnan, truthfulness and austerity. And one more, Brahmacharyena. So Brahmacharya means specifically absence of sex activity. And Nityam. There is no French leave, there is no sudden leave. This has to be a constant life. Satya, Tapas, Brahmacharya and Samyak Jnan, it should be Nitya, then you get the Atman. It has to be regularly practiced, not someday leave. Then what you will get? Antah-sharire, inner body is heart. There, Jyotirmay, self-luminous, Shubhra, pure, Yam Pashyanti Yataya Kirna Dosha. Yati, sannyasis, sadhaks, who have already been drained of their defect, Kirna Dosha, pure mind, they see. Aduna, Satyadini Bhiksho, Samyak Jnana Sahakarini Sadhanani Vidhiyante Nivrutti Pradhanani. So, Bhiksha means sannyasi. No, Bhikshu literally means beggar. Anyway. So, sannyasi is identified with that. Samajnana Sahakarini. Now, what is their type? Nivrutti Pradhanani, which speaks of the withdrawal of the mind. Instead of outgoing tendencies, the whole thing ingoing. These sadhanas are meant for that. So the Spirit has given. Satyena Andruta Tyagena. Satyena means giving up untruth. Mrusha Vadana Tyagena. So specifically, speech. Labhya Praptavya. Kimcha Tapasa. He. Indriya Mana Ekagrata. That is Tapasya. Tapasya throughout this Upanishad means Manasascha Indriyanamcha Hi Ekagram Paramam Tapa. He has quoted from Mahabharata Shanti Parva in many places. Iti Smaranat. Tadi Anukulam Atma Darshana Avimukhi Bhavat Paramam Sadhanam Tapo. Na Itara Chandrayanadi. So Tapasya does not mean not eating food, standing in water. That Tapasya, Gita is criticized in the 17th chapter. So if you want detail of Tapasya, read Gita 17th chapter. Kaik, Vachik, Manasik, Tapasyas are described. But the Spirit Shankar says is Nivrutti Pradhanani and Indriyana Manasa Ekagram Paramam. Na Itara Chandrayana. In Chandrayana we know that Purnima day 15 morsels you should eat, reduce one. So not that type of tapasya. That is prashchitta. Esha Atma Labhya iti Anushanga. So add this everywhere. Esha Atma Labhya. Yatha Bhutatma Darshanena Brahma Samyak Jnanena Yathabhuta Atma Darshanena. Yathabhuta, as it is, Atma nature, that one is seeing. That is Samajna. Brahmacharyana Maithuna Samarcharana. That's all. Absence of sex activity is Brahmacharya. Nityam Sarvada. Nitya, Acharya says Nityam add everywhere. Nityam Satyena, Nityam Tapasa, Nityam Samajnanena iti Sarvatra Nitya Shabdo Antardipika Nyayana Anushaktavya. Antardipika means, no, if you keep lamp in the sill, then it shines outside also, inside also. If we put lamp amidst many things, it will light everybody. So that is the way in which Nitya should be added to all. Vakshati cha, na yeshu jivam amritam na maya cha iti. Now here we are getting a beautiful indication. He is referring to Prashnapanishad and telling Vakshati cha. Understand? Now I told this thing na, in the beginning of Mundakopanishad. That means Prashnapanishad, note down mentally. Prashnapanishad is a sequel of Mundakopanishad. Yeah? And the so-called traditionalists, I must add this word, they lost their traditions. And due to one shloka, now you know that thing, no? No. Now, generally a mistake between two, Muktika Upanishad or Kaivalya Upanishad. It says that Omkar should be sufficient to get knowledge. If you are not getting by Omkar, study Mandukya Upanishad. Mandukya mekam eva alam vimukshuna vimuktaye. And if you are not getting by Mandukya, that means if you study more, you are getting more knowledge, not true. If you are not getting by Mandukya, then study 10 Upanishads. And if you are not getting by 10 Upanishads, study 28 Upanishads. And there it stops. That means if you are not getting by 28 Upanishads, don't come to us. Now these 10 Upanishads are counted in one shloka there itself. Write down or memorize a wrong shloka. Wrong means it has a purpose. Isha kena katha prashna munda mandukya taitiri munda mandukya taitiri. Aitareyam cha chandogyam Brihadaranyakam tatha. Now, this shloka is meant to enumerate 10. And it is in Anushtup Chanda. You understand? That means if Isha, that he had taken in between, it would have undergone a Sandhi and one letter would have been reduced. And Mundak has been reduced to Munda. Now, this is what they follow, telling a tradition. And they study Prashna before Mundak. And Shankar, for that, I had discussed all this in the beginning of Mundaka Upanishad. But the point has come here. And Shankar clearly says न येषु जीवम अमृतम न माया च वक्ष्यति च. Prashnopanishad, first Prashna, 16th mantra. Vakshati cha. That means the Shruti will tell. So Prashna is after Mundak. Similarly, Ishopanishad, they make as the first Upanishad. And the real tradition, always Katha was taught first.
First Katha, then.
Huh?
So, real tradition,
Katha Ishakena. And Mundaka Prashna Mandukya. Now, suppose you don't follow this tradition. There are certain Upanishads which can be studied in the beginning. There are certain which start from a higher point. So for higher sadhakas, Mandukya, all right. But otherwise, Mundak, that means you can start studying from Mundak also. Take up the Aitareya, Atharva Veda, Mundak, Prashna, Mandukya, then come to Katha. Now, again, personal thing has come. I told you about my Guruji's classes. Now in 1956, both eyes were operated, Guruji's, and both eyes still had defects. So he had stopped all his public activities, including classes. He used to high lenses and goggles and all that. And another Swami, Shiva Tattvananda, who had heard Prasthanatra twice from him, to him he had told you, do the classes now. There were senior people than him, but he could learn and teach. I joined the ashrama in the year 1959. By that time, this Swami had taken Katha Isha Kena Mundaka. And he was going to take Prashna. And I joined. Now the two great people thought together, my Guruji and Shiva Tattvanji, that if this new boy studies Prashna, he will be confused and he may understand nothing or ulta. So what to do? These are the seriousness of the class. If you do Mundaka, again people will say repetition. So one Upanishad not mentioned in this 10 at all, Shvetashvatar Upanishad. It is a comprehensive Upanishad. So they decided, you now teach Shvetashvatar. Neither repetition, and it goes from yoga, bhakti, karma, everything. Comprehensive. So my Pinda has been developed by Shvetashvatar. Then they said, now Prashna you can learn. That means even if Mundaka is not heard, Shvetashvatar is comprehensively understood. Now you can study Mundaka. Prashna. That was the thing. And similar thing about Isha. Remember this. So don't fall in the trap. And what I am telling, this shloka is meant to enumerate 10. It does not give the krama of 10. And why in this order? Because Anushtup Chanda, 8 letters everywhere, they should wear. Mundaka has been into Munda, Taitiri, instead of Taitiriya. So, understood now. And for that, Isha comes first. If Aitara, next line starts from Aitara, otherwise again Sandhi would have happened. So, that topic has come here again, that Shankar says, Vakshati cha, quoting a Prashna Upanishad. Anyway, na yeshu jivam amrutam na maya cha. This is about sannyasis. Satyavachan. And Satyavachan comprehensively. That means mental, physical and all that. That they don't have jivam means crookedness. Andrutam, falsehood. Maya cha. Maya means outside one thing, inside different thing. That is Maya. So those who don't have jivam andrutam cha maya cha means sannyasis. Shankar there says grihasthas for their practical life sometimes have to practice falsity. Okay? We are discussing roundabout things today. We will finish this. Koso atma yete sadhana labhyate. So nature of the Atman has to be told again and again. Which is Atman, which is realized by this sadhana. Anta sharire, antar madhya sharirasya pundarika kashe. Shankar always gives this figure. That heart, conceive the heart as a lotus. And in that there is a space. That Akash. That is Antashari. Jyotirmaya hui Rukma Varna, that is like gold or like shining. Means consciousness. Shubhra, Shuddho. Yam Atmanam Pashyanti Upalabhante. Pashyanti is always Upalabhante. Yatayo Yatanashila Sannyasina. Kshina dosha, kshina krodha de chittamala. Dosh here is kamakrodha lavamamada matsar, but Shankar specifically mentions krodha. Adi chittamala. Sa atma nityam satyadi sadhanai sannyasi vir labhyate na kadachit kai satyadi vir labhyate. Sometimes you are truthful will not do. Satyadi sadhanastu Satyadi sadhana stutyartho ayam arthavada. So this is praise. Praise means I already told you function in life about the Satyadi sadhana. So this is a eulogy. This is not the main Upanishad. This is called eulogy. Praising something good. No, I will not end before I tell you a story. Kadachitka. One boy wanted to marry a girl. So the girl's father has called him and interviewing him. You know the story I told? No. He said, do you smoke? No. Do you drink? No. So many questions he asked and he said, go on saying no, no, no. So the father said, then you have perfect character. He said, no, I have one defect. Sometimes I speak lies. So, kadachit. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunayama Deva Bhadram Pashe Makshavir Yajatra Sthirai Rangai Stuštavansas Tanove Vyashema Deva Hitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddashrava Swastina Pusha Vishwaveda Swastina Starksho Arishtanemi Swastino Brahaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti 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 Hare Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.